indwell supports are critical to our overall housing model. It's wraparound supports organized by indwell staff, family members, other service providers, volunteers that contribute together to the stability and well-being of our tenants. Our tenants actually don't meet just one criteria. Tenants come from a variety of different backgrounds. So the basic things that we generally say is that our tenants need affordability, and then they have a desire to participate in supports. And that looks like so many different things for different people. And we actually try to craft our programs so that they can meet those different supports depending on what they are. The main thing that is an undercurrent through all of our programs is a 24-hour on-call support so that people can reach someone who they know after hours.
So I'm a housing support worker here at Parkdale Landing. I also work down the street at one of our other buildings, and I'm part of a pretty big interdisciplinary team. We have nursing staff, we have addiction support workers, as well as peer support workers. And so we have quite a big team that work together to support our tenants. One thing that people always ask me is how I ended up in this job. And I did go to Mohawk College for social service work, but I also worked for a number of years at a summer camp doing all different kinds of jobs. And then I worked in construction for a lot of years. And I think I kind of pull all those things together into this role and really try and meet people where they're at, and really learned a lot along the way of how to connect with people, and that people do need a community around them, and having support and friendly faces to help them along the way is a big part of their journey. One of the things that I would do is support tenants one-on-one, like Jess said.
The way our program works is that it's not one thing for one tenant. It's different depending on who the person is, and that's part of making the teams the way that they are, so that we can meet different tenant needs. And all of those things put together help us together achieve health, wellness, and belonging for our tenants in our housing.
Partnership is a key element of Indwell's model. We celebrate partners because they allow for the long-term sustainability and stability of our programs.
These partnerships start right at the very beginning. As we enter into a new community, looking at the needs of the community, understanding the community, being a part of neighborhood associations and BIAs, and interacting with city, municipal, regional staff, understanding the needs and the community plans for affordable housing and homelessness, moving on towards working with our political leaders to ensure that we're good partners and together that we can come up with solutions for the needs of the community.
As a charity, we develop relationships with people who believe in and have a passion for the Christian message of caring for people on the margins. Because of their eagerness and their passion, they become advocates for and donors of Indwell. Churches also contribute already before the building of a project because they are eager to be part of this message, this value.
As we move into construction, like the building behind me, there's a lot of thought that goes into the design, looking at how a building fits into the neighborhood, looking at the scale and the aesthetics. Also looking at any type of heritage value that might exist in an existing building and what can we preserve. And so that our buildings fit in right now and for the long term in our communities, our neighborhoods.
As our buildings open, community and partnerships shift, but are still vitally important. In the past few years, we've had programs with more advanced support, such as here at Parkdale Landing, and they are able to remain sustainable because of support from hospitals and other service providers.
Volunteers are another important element of our partnerships. Tenants often volunteer, community members volunteer. Alice is a volunteer on our board. This type of networking and relationship building is critical. As John Perkins says, if you want to break the cycle of poverty, that can only happen when people with networks extend those to people without. And that happens right here in Indwell's programs.
So when we look at our sustainability from an operations perspective, we start with our number one asset, and that's our tenants. And our tenants pay us rent. and that is our number one source of revenue. While it's deeply affordable, it's still the bedrock of our sustainability. We also have commercial tenants. Some of our programs are along major commercial corridors that require having commercial tenants on the ground floor. And so we have a wide range of tenants, but we always try to find tenants that add value and bring interesting opportunities to the tenants that live in the residential part of the buildings.
We couldn't do any of this without our faithful givers, individuals, businesses, family foundations who regularly are donating to keep our operations going.
Indwell has a unique lending program where we have almost 200 individuals and organizations that have loaned us money, almost $30 million, to fund our growth. And these loans are key to securing properties as well as funding construction. And then we bring in more traditional lenders as well as family foundations and community foundations to lend on longer-term mortgage financing when projects are complete.
One other aspect that's growing is our planned giving. And we're seeing people that want to leave a legacy in making a difference in providing affordable housing for the long term. And that's something that we're seeing, that people are planning ahead and including us in their state.
So the last pillar of our sustainability on the operations side is our key partners in the government. And that would include municipalities who provide subsidies through rent geared to income for some of our tenants. And then of course, the Ministry of Health, which allows us to provide key support such as nursing, addictions, food support, and housing stability.
We are an ambitious organization that's also building significant amount of new affordable housing buildings. We access this capital through the same approach as our operating donations, starting with our donors and leveraging those for even greater government dollars to be able to cover the majority of the capital costs needed for these new buildings.
Each program is unique, and each funding model is tailored to the unique situation of each program. But it's important that each program's sustainability is intact so that when we roll all of our programs up together, they all contribute to the health of the organization from a financial perspective. We all have the same goal, and that's transforming lives.
We at Indwell embrace innovative technologies to ensure that our buildings are aligned with our mission of health, wellness, and belonging. One of the strengths of our program is that our day-to-day supports we offer our tenants allow us to move from just doing less harm to in fact doing something that's restorative and regenerative in people's lives. And we use this mindset when we look at the restoration of existing buildings or in our new builds. For the last few years, we have worked on 6 projects with Schiltheiss Construction.
We at Schiltheiss are in this together with Indwell. Our community is driven to provide a better environment, better comfort, and overall cost savings for the people that live in our buildings now, as well as a better built environment.
The second reason that we at Indwell embrace innovative technologies is to align with our culture of action. The issues of climate change are daunting, and the technologies we put into our buildings allow us to meet the greenhouse gas emission targets of municipal, provincial, and federal governments.
Passive House is taking off in Ontario. Their main principles focus on increasing air quality and occupant comfort. The main ways they do this is by increasing exterior thermal insulation, decreasing air leakage, increasing your ventilation, and decreasing those thermal bridge spots. The tighter the building envelope, the more we can ensure occupant comfort. The way we do this is through those windows and doors. Passive house buildings have triple pane, airtight windows and doors. Another technical way that passive house buildings help improve the built environment, as well as keep the costs down, is through the use of heat exchangers.
By greatly reducing our energy use, we can protect our tenants against the volatile and rising costs of energy. By way of example, our last retrofit project resulted in a building energy use that was 50% of what's allowed by current code. And while the issues of environment, health, and risk are complicated, the solution, building to passive house and embracing other technologies, is relatively simple. The technologies, the design details, and the construction techniques all exist and can be incorporated into any building with minimal cost.